Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Frickin' Laser Beams podcast. Sorry about that week off. We kind of got busy. Just couldn't make it happen last week.
Yeah.
So this is August 12th.
Ooh.
As always, I'm Phil. We've got resident John Arbuckle expert, Mr. Wetbridge. Wetbridge, how's it going?
You know, just
How's Garfield?
he's doing good. Gave him some lasagna, and the arbuckling is ready to commence. Let's go.
Yeah, yes, that is the only verb that I would use to describe this week.
It's a good verb.
Honestly, we've got a bunch to talk about. Mainly because we missed last week, but we do have a lot and a couple things that I just kind of want to hit on, things that we don't really need to dwell on forever.
Let's go.
But so let's start out by talking sort of promises that are made in video games and how they change over time. So this is a little old at this point, but I think it's still worth bringing up. So Gran Turismo Sport is getting microtransactions a year after they said it was not going to. So do you think that that amount of time forgives kind of the broken promise? Or do you think that if they say out of the gate that it's going to be one way or the other, that they should be bound to that? I mean, we all know that video game development changes ridiculously over the course of its life, but this seems a lot different. The fact that they're adding a monetization model this late in its life, it sends a weird message to me. It sends a message of, hey, now all these studios are going to just wait. They'll wait a month or something, and they'll wait until the initial review barrage, the initial word of mouth goes around, and then it's going to be business as usual afterward.
The interesting thing to me about this is it's capped at a certain amount, so you can only get certain vehicles with it. So while I understand that people may be upset that they originally said it wouldn't, it feels more like what's a good way to put this? Maybe like a kind of, not necessarily a catch-up mechanic, but a way to let players who maybe don't play that much catch up and get better vehicles.
So a time-saving mechanic.
Yeah, I would say it's more that, because as long as it doesn't cost more than 2 million in-game currency, so it's not necessarily pay to win, which is what I feel like a lot of gamers are mad about, pay to win, and then also pay the gambling that is loot boxes. So I can see this being something that wouldn't upset a whole lot of people. At least it doesn't upset me. I feel like it's okay. The fact that he said that it wasn't going to have it, stuff changes over a year, man. Stuff changes.
It's just weird. I mean, I understand that the stuff changes thing is really reasonable to me in terms of development. So if someone said, hey, this feature is going to be in the game or something, and the game's not out yet, and it doesn't end up being in the game, that to me is very understandable, because that is, that's the nature of games. They change wildly in their development. But this seems almost, I don't know. I think, yes, the microtransactions that they're adding aren't particularly egregious, and I would have honestly been fine with them there from day one. It's just a weird thing to promise and come back on after the game is fully released.
It could be also something where the game didn't sell as well as they anticipated, and they're trying to maybe recoup some of their losses from the people that do play.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, that would be...
Which I'm fine
I wonder,
with.
How many people are really asking for this type of thing. I'm sure it does benefit some people. I'm not really against non-obtrusive microtransactions. A good example for me, so when Mortal Kombat came out, Mortal Kombat 10, they actually let you pay money to do easy fatalities.
Huh.
So, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, that's
right?
not a big deal. I mean, they've already lost at that point, so it's an interesting thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's not any sort of, it's far from pay to win, because the match has already been decided. Kind of, who cares? It's just it's a kind of a weird thing in general, but just letting people pay for time savers or ease of use type of things, maybe in that case, the reason it's kind of crappy is that it's an accessibility thing, and they could have, well, I don't know. That's kind of a hard conversation to go down, because if you're talking accessibility in fighting games, it can be tough.
Well, the thing for me about this is, like, the reason why I've never gotten into games like Battlefield, say, are that you have to play a lot to get, like, certain things. And it just gets to the point where, like, if I try to hop in Battlefield, like, 6 months after it came out, I'm just going to repeatedly die, and not have any fun playing it. So something like this was offered for Battlefield, a game that I wouldn't get to play a whole lot, where I could, suddenly be like, I can unlock things up to a certain tier, but only after the game's been out for a while. So it's not hurting the people that originally grinded for it, and it's still letting me like play with my friends. I'm okay with this sort of thing. It's a weird thing, but I'm okay with it.
It feels like a kind of a commentary on the grind in general.
Yeah.
So maybe like the grind just isn't as bad. Like maybe these games don't punish you for not pouring X hours into it, and I don't know. Like you said, it's kind of a hard line to toe.
It's an interesting thing, because I'm going to take a completely different stance when we talk about another game, but
yeah, because I think when we've talked about Destiny 2 in the past, where the whole point was to try to limit that grind, and then the people that wanted to play only Destiny 2 for
they want the grind
days
back.
and days and days, they wanted that grind because that was what kept them there. That's what kept it relevant.
The grind is what Destiny is, a game where the grind is the game. So, like, it's like Diablo.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, once you reach the cap, there's really not much for you to do. Even with the Nightfalls and stuff and the raids, because the raids weren't that difficult. They made them a little too accessible, so it was too easy to get to cap and then too easy to also complete the raid. And then there was really nothing else for you to do. No challenges left. So if they have a challenge that's, like, difficult, that you have to grind more to do, people are going to grind more. They're going to spend more time in the game. They're going to be overall more happy with the game, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to try to balance, and I don't really envy them at all.
Destiny 2 is going back more towards the grind fest they just put out recently.
Yeah.
It's going to take longer to get upgrades and stuff, which is good, I think. Because I reached the level cap too fast. It does seem like
they're changing a lot.
Every expansion, I reached the level cap too fast, and it's like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah, it seems like they're going back to like a more hyperactive multiplayer as well.
That could be fun.
It does seem like maybe they kind of it's really sort of a weird opposite approach almost. So like with the PvE, they were kind of trying to cater towards this casual audience that doesn't have a ton of time to play. But then for the PvP portion, they seem to like really want to lean on an esports, be dedicated, like teamwork focused, team shooting type of like environment, like a meta like that. And they went away from just like the chaos, the insanity of the Destiny 1 PvP. So they kind of went in the opposite direction.
Yeah. It's
so it's kind of
Destiny's an interesting animal.
Yeah, so they're it sounds like they're going back to more or less Destiny 1 Taken King style, like though they're giving PvE people the grind back and they're giving PvP people the chaos
Taken King was the height of Destiny as far as most people are concerned, so
yeah, I honestly don't know of many people out there that would argue otherwise.
Yep, so going back towards that is probably they're going back towards what works. This is what they probably should stick with.
Well, to get back on the topic of just making the money.
Yeah.
So, did you hear that Fortnite, it's now on Google Play. It might still be exclusive to Samsung devices, but they're actually completely avoiding... Oh, no, sorry. The whole story is that they're avoiding Google Play. So, they're on Android. Sorry. But they're avoiding the Play Store so that they don't have to give up the 30% cut.
That's weird, because don't you have to give a cut to Apple as well?
You do, but Apple is much more difficult in terms of just... Like, the iPhone is very closed up.
Oh, there's probably no way for them to get around it on the iPhone.
No good way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you might actually have to have, like, a rooted phone to even do that on an iPhone. So like they're pretty much forced into the App Store on iPhone, but they're not on Android. Android's pretty open.
I mean,
so they're able to just avoid Google Play altogether.
To be fair, Fortnite, makes a boatload of money, and 30% of a boatload is still a lot. I mean, so it's understandable. That and between Apple, I mean, that's a good. How much does Apple make off of Fortnite? I would love to see those numbers.
They make incredible money off of the App Store in general, for sure. Like, there's so many wildly successful.
Well, so if Fortnite
games.
makes $1 million a day, let's say a quarter of that being on iPhone, which is probably more than that. Let's say half of it on iPhone. So that's $500,000 a day. 30% of that is what? 150? Or no? My math is bad right now. Yeah, it's 150,000.
It's fine.
It's like.
Yeah, so they're making. I mean,
they're making
we're talking just Fortnite there.
$150,000 a day. That's crazy. Like that's like $4.5 million a month just off of Fortnite. It's
kind of like why Valve
if the cuts
is huge too.
Similar. Yeah,
right. So yeah, it's. I mean, you have the huge games like Pokemon Go and Fortnite and Candy Crush and all that. I mean, obviously making Apple a ton of money, and so Epic is looking to keep that 30% on Android, which I think they can do it.
Yeah, I think
I don't see.
They don't really need it.
Why not? They're well known enough.
It'll probably lose them some business for the people that don't know how to do it, because like there are some
possibly
stupid
true. Yeah,
people with phones. Like no offense, but everyone has a phone. So there are a lot of people who are unfamiliar with technology. Like I had to show someone how to do. I had to show my boss, who's like 29 years old, how to do something with a computer the other day, like how to turn the sound on because he couldn't figure it out. So like it happens. Like you get people that don't know how to do these things, but it's I would love to see like the comparison of like if they'll lose, how much they'll lose like by not doing it. Will it be anywhere near that 30% cut? Who knows?
I super doubt it, honestly.
People who are gonna get it anyways. It's one of those interesting things.
Yeah, it's like that hypothetical that you wish you could test, but there's actually no way to test it. Yeah, I do think it's definitely not something that any game could do, right? Like it's not something that any old average game launching could do. I just think it's interesting. They're really,
especially if they have like instructions on how to do it on their website. I think that'd be really good. I bet
they make it incredibly easy, honestly.
They might.
I just think that Android's not like the hardest thing to figure out. I'm sure they make it, hopefully it's like not akin to doing any sort of low level thing with the phone. I assume it's pretty easy. Sounds like something that we should test out ourselves.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. I was good. Oh yeah, it's straight up on the actual website. And it's an email invite, so I bet you just download it straight from the email.
If this allows them to make the same type of move that they were with their store, like give back more to creators, to just like share that revenue a little bit, share it around a little bit, get like kind of enable people to make more and better things, then I'm all for this. Like I don't think we need to give Google this money. Like I don't think Google's not hurting because of this move or anything, and if it allows, like if they're just doing this to make more money simply, then whatever, I understand it, but it sounds like they're taking a lot of this money and putting it back into like the tournament scene, back into their store and their products. So sure, why not? Go for it. So speaking of Fortnite,
yes.
The internet was just losing their freaking minds for whatever reason. If there's anything that comes along that is against the grain in some way, then people just don't know how to react to it and they freak the F out. So it comes out that parents are hiring coaches for Fortnite for their kids, which, is the popular thing right now amongst kids.
Yeah, I have no problems with this.
So, but people are just losing
Not
it.
a sport. Not a sport. Not a sport.
But like that's not really the whole sport thing is really
You
not
hire
the
coaches
criticism.
to teach your kids how to play tennis. I don't get it. Like,
I think that the simple, it's just like the premise of it is what people are losing their minds over. Like that you can hire a coach to teach your kid something socially acceptable or mainstream.
Yeah.
Like if you hired your kid, like a coach to teach your kid chess or something, people would be like, "Oh, cool, that's awesome. You're teaching your kid a skill and critical reasoning and blah blah blah." But if you hire them like to practice at a game, then people lose their shit.
baseball's a game.
It was just-
Football's a game. Holy fucking shit. Like, sorry about my language, but like, this shit is getting out of hand. Like, people need to realize, like, people are going to spend money what they want of. If you want, especially, like, I'm fine with this, especially because the peak for gamers, like, professional gamers, is, like, an extremely low age. Like, most of your professional gamers are teenagers to early 20s, and then you start to fall off. Like, it's earlier than most sports, so hiring someone... I have a friend who used to make a living coaching people to play StarCraft 2. It's something that's been around forever. It's just like, oh, the internet's just like, oh, Fortnite, blah, blah, video games, blah, blah, blah. It's like, the internet just needs to get over it. I'm so sick of it's the whole, it's not a sport, it's not acceptable, it's not this, it's not that. It's just let fucking people be people. Holy shit.
For me, I just think that, I mean, so I played football as a kid, you know, in junior high and whatever, and it's not like I had aspirations to be a pro football player. It's just like, if you're teaching your kids valuable, like, lessons, like how to be coached, how to practice,
how to focus, yeah.
Yeah, it's just because
resiliency,
the medium
like shit,
is
man.
Fortnite rather than football or X other thing, like, it could be anything, and I feel like you're getting some sort of lesson out of it.
I can't wait till, like, 20 years from now when people are like, oh, you hired a coach to teach your kid football? You know, I can't wait till, like, the tables have turned.
Okay, it's going to be more than 20 years.
I don't know. I'm
believe
just saying
on
with,
that
like,
one.
all the concussion stuff, I think. And I think...
It does seem like football is changing more
I love
rapidly than
football,
people
but
want.
I'm afraid that it's dying.
Well, speaking of, haven't you been playing Madden this
I
week?
I have.
So, back on the PC, it sounds
Yeah.
like? Is that where you're
I
playing?
am, actually. I bought it on PC, downloaded it on Origin this week. I've already gotten so mad that I've thrown my controller. It's
Oh,
it's
is this like a...
incredibly frustrating. Like, so I haven't played for a few years because I haven't had my console with me, and it's just incredibly difficult. Like, it's the it's not like it's not very new people friendly. Like, having played for in the past a lot, I'd have some like mechanics down, but like running the football, I can't figure it out. Like, I just like...
So does this game kind of assume that you've been playing the previous Maddens, or does it try to start you from scratch?
I think it tries to treat you, trying to kind of start you from scratch. Things are a little different, but it's back towards a lot more of the classic Madden thing. So it's a little bit of both. The real interesting thing for me is how it controls on PC. I've been using a controller, but you can also use the keyboard and mouse, which is incredibly ridiculous. So, like,
Yeah, that sounds super awkward,
you
honestly.
use like your, like, I think it's like ASDW to move, and then like to throw to different people. No, that's not how you move. You throw to different people with like space, Q, W, E, R. That's how you throw to different people, and then your control is whatever direction you last move the mouse in. So you have a like your mouse functions as like a joystick, technically.
That sounds really strange.
It's
Also,
super weird.
who on this earth says ASDW rather than WASD?
I just looked at it, okay?
Okay,
I was like,
just wanted to
I was like,
take a second.
I was like, what buttons do you use to move? A, S, D, W? Like, I just looked at it weird. All right,
It seems like it's
Oh, go ahead.
But it seems like the game's getting just reasonable reception.
It's not bad.
It's a Madden.
The only problem I have with it so far is like injuries seem to be super amped up. Like my running back has gotten hurt, I think 6 times this year. He has like 80 yards on the season because he gets hurt every other game, and then when he comes back, he gets hurt again. I don't understand it. I'm even like waiting and letting him heal fully. It's just maybe he just sucks.
So do you plan on trying to like stick with it?
I'm already I bought it yesterday, and I'm already like almost to the playoffs. So yes, on my first season, I played 16 games. I think 15. I've got one more game.
How long is the game in real time?
Like 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh wow! So you've been going super hard.
I haven't been able to play. Like you said, we've been super busy. I haven't really been able to play a whole lot, and it's easy to get sucked into it. It's like, I got to do my training stuff for this week, and then manage my roster, and then make my players better, and then play the game. And it's like, just one more game, and then you get done with that, and you're like, well, I'll just do the training. Well, I could just play the game. Just one more,
It's like that. It's that strong one more game
it's a
syndrome.
very one more game syndrome type of game, but it's a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it so far.
So did you get to, like you said, we've been kind of busy lately, but did you get to see the huge amount of gameplay reveals this week? I mean, a huge amount is maybe not the best way to put it, but so we saw a lot, like an actual gameplay reveal of Red Dead Redemption 2. We saw the gameplay reveal of Doom Eternal.
I saw a little bit of the Doom one. I didn't watch it all. Red Dead Redemption, like, I just don't have the boner for Red Dead Redemption that everyone else has. Because I never played the first one. I should probably get around to it. But
I think it does look good right now. I mean, like, in your current situation, you couldn't even play it because it's console only, I believe.
Oh, shit. Well, then, yeah, I probably don't even care then.
I think that it looks fine. Like, I think it looks good. I think it looks like what they're saying it's going to be.
Although I will add that Sony did try and tempt me over this week with the release of that new, like, blue translucent PS4.
Oh, man. That PS4 Pro, that thing looks crazy good, doesn't it?
I was like, damn you, Sony! Why must you do this to me?
For anyone that hasn't seen that, go take a look at that thing. Like, so my fiance hates clear, like, see-through electronics, and she didn't seem to want to throw up when she saw that one either. Like, this thing looks great. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, I was like, translucent? That bitch is solid. And then it turned on, and I was like, ooh. It's like, no, don't get sucked in.
I know, and it's funny. It's actually like $500, I think.
It's not a bad deal either, yeah.
The only advantage of getting that one, other than the fact that it's probably going to be worth a whole bunch because it's a collector's item and all
they're
that,
only making,
I think it's a 2 terabyte hard drive. So, like, that's in terms spec-wise, like, that's what it has above the old average Joe PS4 Pro.
They said they weren't making a whole lot of them either.
Yeah, no, it is a limited run, kind of just like they had with the classic-looking PS4, which still goes for, I want to say, at least twice the price. So if you were able to snag one of these at $500,
they're selling 50,000 of them. That's it.
Not to say that people should buy them to resell them, because that's kind of a crappy
fuck you
thing to
buy
do.
Them and play them. Don't be a dick.
Buy it and display it. It'll be all fancy looking. Plug it in.
Plug it in.
So yeah, Red Dead. I mean, it looks fine. It looks good. I think if I'm feeling up for an open world type of game at the time, I might go for it.
I've still got
It is this year. I mean, it's soon. It's one of the games that people kind of cite to maybe take the reins of Game of the Year. Well, like for me, God of War is up there.
Yeah, that's what most people are
saying. And I think a lot of people are sitting in that camp and saying that, hey, maybe Red Dead will come along and steal that title away. Little too early to be talking Game of the Year, but it's definitely one that people are looking forward to. So you said you did catch a little bit of the Doom Eternal?
Yeah, just a little. Not a whole lot of it.
What did you think?
I don't really know. I'm still up in the air about Doom. I I really just don't know.
Did you
about
play
it
the reboot?
I did not. I heard it was good though.
Oh man, see, maybe that's why you're not excited right now.
It could be. It could be. I still remember, 1980s Doom. That's my last.
So it definitely looks a lot like. I mean, it's definitely an iteration on the reboot, but it has like that same type of feel. It was an interesting reveal. So they did this at QuakeCon, which is currently happening. And so they showed it first being played on a controller.
Okay.
And then they're like, oh, here it is again, but with a better field of view on a keyboard and mouse. And man, it was like it's such a different thing between the two. And I know like some people out there can like just kick total ass with a controller and probably it looks exactly like the keyboard and mouse gameplay.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like the average player on both of those platforms, it is going to play reasonably differently between the two. And it's such a differently like paced experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the keyboard and mouse, he was like freaking jumping up and hooking stuff in midair and like flipping around and doing all this nonsense. And it looks like the reboot, like I was saying. It's that real high-paced, awesome feeling gun combat.
Oh shit, yeah, it looks way better on it's like more in the corner too. Like the gun is like feels like it's less in the corner. I don't know. But I don't know, I think it looks way better on PC like you said.
I know this is pretty crazy. It's actually coming to the Switch as well on launch. Well, so Doom made its way there, but it was well after the fact.
Is this going to be well after the fact as well, or is it going to be like a launch title?
From what they never really led on that it was going to be a delayed launch. They kind of suggested that it was going to be all at the same time. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool for the people with just a Switch or someone that wants to like take it on a plane or something.
3 people that only have a Switch. Oh yeah, I guess this plane's a good.
There's got to be a decent amount of people out there with just a Switch or prefer playing on the Switch.
Well, there's probably a few people, but like, I just tend to think that they're more your younger crowd, and like I don't know if Doom's really going to be their cup of tea.
Maybe, yeah, it would be interesting actually to see
maybe it did really well on
numbers on those.
The first one did well on the Switch. I don't know.
I kind of assume
it would have to for them to make the second one on this.
Right, and they also ported Wolfenstein 2 to it. So.
Oh, wow. Shit. All right.
The only other news that really came out of QuakeCon is that Quake Champions is going completely free to play. It sounds like there's some shenanigans with like the characters you can use, kind of like how Rainbow Six did its real cheap package where you kind of only had access to a certain amount and then you could like unlock some as you went. But still, it's interesting. I do wonder if they're kind of taking this. Was it always supposed to be free to play?
I don't know.
Or is this hey, maybe Quake Champions doesn't have as many people as we would like playing it in its current state? Because they've done this once before where they like made it free to everybody for a while, and if you downloaded it during that period of time, it was free forever.
Weird.
So it seems like they've tried to increase its population before. And we've seen similar games, games in that same genre, like Lawbreakers, kind of crash and burn. So I wonder if they're pulling out all the stops that they can.
It's a possibility. I think it's a free-to-play for games that weren't free-to-play seem to be an attempt to breathe a second life back into them, usually.
Can you name a game where that was successful?
Ooh.
Because I can name a couple of that it was not successful.
I can think about it for a minute and maybe come up with something.
Because kind of like the poster child in my mind for this is Evolve.
Yeah.
Where it was an obvious failure, and then they made it free to play.
Fortress 2.
Team Fortress 2 was doing fine.
Didn't really bring life
without,
into it, but yeah. But it's one that's still doing okay.
It was doing fine before and after the free-to-play transition. It was like they made it free-to-play because...
EVE Online, maybe? Is Eve free to play, or do you have to? I don't even know. It says it's free on Steam.
I don't know. It'd be something we'd have to look into.
The Old Republic.
Oh yeah, that one went free to play and kind of like picked back up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I actually looked back into it when it went free to play, and like there's like premium content that you can pay for. You can still like have a subscription, but like to see most of the like base game, like you really don't need anything. There's like a DLC too that you have to like have the subscription to use, I think, but. It was not very, like, I definitely played it after it became free to play, and it's still, I think, a decent game. There are things that places they went wrong with it, but it's still a decent game.
I just wonder, like, regardless of the price, I mean, Quake Champions is still suffering from the fact that this is just a genre that doesn't seem to be all that popular right now.
I heard APB came back a little bit too. Do you remember APB?
Yeah. Did that get rebranded in some fashion, or is it still like APB Reloaded or something?
It's APB Reloaded, yeah.
Weird. All right. Anyway, so
I remember.
That's all. Anything else to say about the gameplay reveals this week?
Nah, that's all I got.
Well, another one actually that's kind of going on right now. Not really a gameplay reveal, but just more content from a game that's not quite out yet. The Black Ops 4 beta is currently happening. So this last weekend was PlayStation 4 only, I believe, and it was closed. And then this weekend, it's closed still on the PlayStation and Xbox, but the PC was open.
Oh, okay. I wish I would have known that. I probably would have tried a little bit, but I didn't really have a lot of time, so maybe I wouldn't have.
So it would have cut into your Madden time.
I only played yesterday.
Okay. So I played a ton of it.
How is it?
I actually reached the max beta level.
Oh, wow. Is it more like, so would you say it's more like Modern Warfare 2 or like a Black Ops 1 or maybe one of the worst ones like World at War? I don't know if it was actually worse.
It's really strange. So I went, World at War is definitely not one of the worst ones.
I know, I'm just throwing one out there that I haven't played. What would you say the worst one is?
Ghosts was pretty bad.
I like the story though.
Well, we're talking. Yeah. You can't even don't ignore the story because Black Ops 4 doesn't even have one. Well, it has the zombies stuff, but
it's all the story I need.
It was interesting because I came into this having just watched a video called "The Black Ops 4 Beta Sucks." Okay. So I watched
Clearly
that and I
disagree.
listened. So, yeah. And this was after the PS4 weekend. So I listened to this guy. He is really upset about the time to kill. Just like super upset about it. Like that was the thing that he kept harping on over and over and over.
Is it like
was that it took too long to kill someone. And I was sitting there watching, and he was still getting like, people were getting wrecked instantly. You can still get one shot killed in this game.
Okay, so he's just like a jerk or what?
No, it is longer than like the traditional COD. So normally in COD, you get hit like 2, 3, 4 times, like real fast. You die very, very fast.
Yeah.
And so you don't really have time to react to someone shooting at you. Whereas in this game, you actually do. And I really love that about it. So it feels like Black Ops 1 to me, where you could actually turn on someone and win the firefight if you were better.
Well, I remember so you were ridiculously good at Black Ops 1 as well.
Well, it was the one that we all played the most of, probably.
Did you have a KD of like 4, you crazy asshole?
It was nothing so crazy. And that was on 360, so it was different in that respect. Yeah. But so in this one, I don't know. Just right now, I'm really liking it. The time to kill is a little bit more akin to Titanfall, so it is a little longer.
Ooh, Titanfall.
You don't auto-regen health. You actually have a button to do your health regen, and for whatever reason, like, that's super satisfying. The only, thing that is a little unfortunate that kind of all the PC Call of Duties suffer from is that just different weapons are are good and bad between PC and console.
I mean, that's going to be the case. Like, snipers are probably better on PC. Some of them.
And sometimes you get a lot of them. So you pretty much just like pimp out a sniper rifle with quick draw and just a red dot rather than a scope. And you put like the high damage, you put the armor piercing rounds, and you put all that on it. Because it's kind of like that real freeform creative class that's kind of been around forever now.
Yeah.
So you just stack all that stuff up, and any shot that is waist up can kill in one hit.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, so you're talking like sometimes it feels a little bit like shenanigans.
That feels like some shenanigans I saw from Doc in PUBG the other day, but
just so I don't really understand like the time to kill critique for me is it's actually a good thing that it's longer. It feels like it rewards being able to stay on a target a little longer. You don't just turn a corner and instantly die. Like
that's always good.
You can kind of pop out and get hit 1 or 2 times and then like slide back into cover and heal yourself. The healing seems reasonably balanced. I don't know. I really had a good time with it. The abilities didn't seem like so heinously overpowered. I'm glad that people aren't like floating and flying and going all over the place and running on walls. And
yeah, I was actually going to bring that up for worst Call of Duty. I forgot about that one.
Well, so a lot of people liked Advanced Warfare actually. I think of the ones where you could do all that stuff, Infinite Warfare was probably the worst one.
Yeah.
It's real interesting that I feel like in the past you didn't really see the previous game surviving as long as, let's say, like Black Ops 3 has been pretty like reasonably
Modern Warfare 2.
Well, like some of those, like I was just real surprised to see like the numbers that are still playing those previous Call of Duties, because it seems like the new ones kind of aren't scratching that same itch. But really what I've come out of this beta weekend excited about is their Battle Royale mode. The game works really well.
Is it good? Was that in the beta?
No, it's in a future beta.
It's a separate beta. Okay.
So I'm actually really curious about it, and I think that it perfectly leads us into the next story.
Okay.
Which is that PUBG Corp launched.
Yes.
Yeah, they launched a website dedicated to fixing PUBG. So, I mean, it's fix.pubg.com. So they know
it's got kind of like a
that it's broken
roadmap as well, which I like. Like the things they're hoping to accomplish.
It's great and everything, but it's kind of just coming back to like it just my frustrations with it that have been kind of building and
I think
increasing over time.
I feel like this is more them just. I feel like they've been doing the same sort of stuff. There just hasn't really been any transparency with it. So now they're coming with some transparency to be like, hey, so you guys are more aware of what's happening. Because I feel like PUBG does some stuff. Like they've been working on updating some stuff. And most of the patches have had, as far as the ones that were meant to make things better performance-wise, have helped.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say they haven't like come a long way.
Yeah.
But it still has a lot of basic issues, in my opinion. And it's just, to me, it speaks volumes that they're so sick and tired of hearing quote unquote fix PUBG that they decided that they needed to do this.
I mean, I guess.
Do you think that this is hey, we're getting out in front of all the other, like the big battle royales coming out? Do you think they're afraid that someone's going to come along and kind of steal away the Milsim battle royale from them?
No, I just think they're just working on the same thing they've been working through, and they feel like some transparency is needed because they're too tired of hearing esports ready when they've said that it's not esports ready. I mean, Brendan Green's come straight out and said it's not esports ready.
while they
while they had a big tournament.
host esports tournaments.
Yeah. But, like, just because you're not ready for something doesn't mean you can't do it, Phil.
I realize that, but it's like they're leaning into something that they're clearly claiming not to be ready for, I guess.
I mean, they kind of have to. They're being pushed, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, they are being pushed.
As far as, like, esports, they want that competition. They want the big streamers. They need that visibility for them to stay, like, maybe not stay relevant, for them to be what they want to be in the future.
I still don't think Battle Royale is the most interesting esport to watch, personally.
Oh, I actually really enjoyed the tournament. Like, watching, like, the last tournament, the big one in Germany. I watched the finals, I think, of the first person, and it was really good. Like, I watched whatever team it was, gold. I can't remember. Like, it was really cool. Like, how it ended. It was really tense, and, like, watching. I don't know. I really enjoyed watching the end of it. Was really cool because there were a bunch of teams close together. I could see how early I ended up joining it, like, halfway to 3/4 of the way through a match when things were getting good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the difference, is you don't see a lot of action in the start. Like, you'll go like 10 minutes with no one dying because no one wants to fight at that point.
Yeah. That's I think more of a squads thing anyways too. Like, if you're like, cuz the competition was, that part of the competition was squads based, and squads based you're going to have 4 people landing at each spot where people land. Whereas in where a team, what am I trying to say? Like, if you have 100 people landing on a map, that's 100 locations to choose from. If you have 25 teams landing on a map, they're most likely going to land in 25 locations. So there's bound to be more room between them, if you know what I mean.
And they weren't even maxing out the team numbered, right? It was like 20 teams.
I think so, but, like, it was not that bad. Like, I think the new map, Sanhok, will be very good for, like, future esports. I think the one I watched ended up on Miramar.
Yeah, it seems like they just need to keep kind of iterating on it and figuring out what they need to do to make it a little bit more.
I think the future of PUBG's in small maps too. Smaller maps.
Yeah, I do wonder what the next one we get is in that respect.
I did see something crazy interesting on Sanhok the other day, though. I was watching Dr. Disrespect play, and he took the bipod sniper rifle. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the bipod. It was like there's a sniper rifle that also has, like, a full auto mode, and he was playing it on Sanhok, and he would put a red dot on it, turn it to full auto, put an extended mag on it, and use it as a close range weapon, and it was ridiculous. He was just murdering everybody. I think he figured it out during a match that Fog. I guess Fog's back, which I didn't know.
Yeah, they're doing dynamic weather, which is actually kind of cool.
So he was on a Fog map on Sanhok and just rolls up on people, and there's, like, just no kick to it. He's just murdering people, and it was like, this is amazing. I don't know.
All right, so to get we're gonna have to get through a couple more things before we run out of time.
Okay.
So let's get back to Bethesda for a second.
Ooh. No, I'm just kidding.
No? Okay. So they issued kind of like a cease and desist. I guess that's what you would want to call it. But so a guy had bought The Evil Within 2.
Yep.
Didn't get around to playing it.
Yep.
Then he puts it up on Amazon's store.
Yep.
Just like the third-party seller. But he marks it new, and then Bethesda demands he remove it from being sold on Amazon as it is not a new product.
It's interesting. I mean, technically,
do you think
they're not wrong? It is
like, do you think people
pre-owned. He's not an authorized seller.
Are people making a bigger deal out of this than it really is?
I mean, he literally can just go back in and put pre-owned, never opened, and sell it for the same price.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty fair. I mean, that's probably what he would want to do, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's just a semantics thing. They're like, hey, we don't want you telling people this is new. You're not an authorized seller. The big thing they said was that the reason the big difference is that it's not new is because he doesn't offer any sort of warranty with it.
So the thing about the story, which is kind of unrelated but tangentially related,
Yeah.
is that GameStop will absolutely open up a game, put it in a freaking sleeve, let even one of their employees play the game,
Sell it as new.
and then sell it to you as new.
They're an authorized reseller, though.
Which, like, super pisses me off that they how can they call that new when this bro has a factory sealed copy and he's not allowed to call it new? Like, I understand why he's not allowed to call it new, but they also should not be allowed to call that
that's
new.
That's a different conversation entirely. Yeah, they should not be able to. Just no.
That's just like, yeah, that's why I feel like it's a tangent slightly, but related and has always bothered me.
Absolutely.
Okay, onward with Bethesda.
Okay.
More Bethesda action.
Ah, yes.
So tell me about Fallout 76 and how they're going to deal with people murdering you.
So there's Fallout 76 is it's a multiplayer game. It's basically an MMO something, you know what I mean? So it's massively multiplayer. There's going to be PvP in it as well. So the questions that started to come up, what are you going to do to people that grief and kill? Because it's really not fun. It happens happened to me when I used to play World of Warcraft. I got camped for 2 hours. Someone killed me, couldn't get to my body for 2 hours. It was not cool. But in Fallout, if you kill somebody and they don't attempt to fight back or anything, you'll be branded a murderer. And there will be a bounty put out on your head, which will come from your own money. So, you'll also be marked on the minimap with a big red star. So, players will be alerted to these wanted murderers. I air quotes there. I don't know why I did that, because it's not like anyone can see my air quotes. But you'll be a wanted murderer, and anyone can come and kill you and claim that bounty. And if the person you killed comes and kills you, they get double the bounty. It's like a kind of a revenge system to let you kind of recoup what they did to you. And you won't lose any of your weapons or anything when people kill you. It's an interesting way. It kind of makes it part of the story, part of the gameplay, instead of people just being assholes.
That is weird. Is this like it's kind of the same type of thought process as the Dark Zone in The Division?
I'd say probably. Even though The Division people can just roll, it's not going to be just like that, because in The Division you have to go to that specific area for PvP.
Right, so it's just everywhere is the Dark Zone.
Everywhere is like the Dark Zone. People can just roll up and murder you, but they won't get any rewards for killing you if you don't fight back. And also there's a cap, it's level based. If you kill someone higher level than you, you'll get more rewards. If you kill someone lower than you, it won't really be worth very much. To kind of discourage griefing.
Is this going to just be a whole bunch of people trying to quote unquote accidentally get hit by someone else?
Probably.
If I threw myself in front of you,
I just throw myself in front of the bear. Oh, he killed me.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
A murderer and all my friends can come kill you.
Yeah, and then you get double rewards for coming back and doing it.
People are trolls, so probably.
I am going to be very interested to see how that shakes out. I don't know if that's a perfect solution to the problem.
I'm going to be the most annoying person on Fallout 76, because I'm going to have my voice chat on, turned all the way up, and I'm going to sing John Denver's Country Roads the whole time.
The whole time?
The whole time.
On loop.
Yep,
I don't know if I could handle that, honestly.
I will probably
I've heard that song enough in my life.
Super murdered. It's going to be great.
I'm
going to turn people into red stars.
Instead of throwing yourself in front of the bear,
I'm just gonna
constantly just walk behind them singing country roads until they turn around and kill you because you have annoyed them to their absolute breaking point.
And then I come back and kill them and get double the rewards. That's my plan.
Yeah, see? Like, this is the problem. It's like
next level strats there.
Yeah, you're just making trolling different.
Yeah. Sorry. All right, man.
Okay. All right, let's get off video games for 1 second before we get back to our game of the week.
Okay.
We're hitting that time.
Ooh.
As always. So, Mr. Richard Garfield.
Ooh, yes.
As you know from Magic the Gathering.
Yes, and other games. And others.
And others, yes. He's had his fingers in many things. But, so a new game is coming from him. And Fantasy Flight Games, I believe.
It is Fantasy Flight Games.
So it's called Keyforge. So it's not a collectible card game, I guess. Can you call it that? Because each deck is actually
it's a collectible deck game, actually.
So we're taking it's a very unique concept. So every deck is actually unique. Like you're not buying packs to like build decks. There is no deck building in this game.
You're buying decks. They're all procedurally generated. They all have a custom back that is only for that deck, so you can't mix cards from other decks in with them.
Right. Yeah, so like this is really interesting.
I'm super intrigued by this. I really hope this catches on. I would love to just go somewhere cuz it's so interesting because you could buy something that could be a complete pile of shit. Or you could buy something and it could just be amazing. Like, you just be like winning all the time. Like, I'm really intrigued by this. It's really, really cool.
So I get the thing that I heard, one of the thought processes behind this was that the whole net decking concept does not apply to this game, obviously.
Yeah.
Which
no two decks
very
are the
heavily
same.
Applies to everything else, right?
Yeah.
All the other card games like that. So the thing that surprises me the most about this game is that it's on paper. Like it's a physical product. I'm like super surprised by that.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that this isn't just a digital game.
It's not even there's thoughts about whether it'll be a digital game, but right now it's not. It's like only paper.
Just like, what does the economy look like for a game like this?
I don't know.
Are all the cards just like not worth anything?
Okay.
Because they can't be utilized in any other way than just the deck? Or is there like a deck that just becomes ridiculously expensive because it's the best deck?
Well, no. Like, no two decks should ever be the same. Like, okay, they're all...
Right,
they're
so like there's just this one bro's deck.
So I'm reading, in the first set, there are more than 104, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 24 zeros. Possible decks.
My question, though, is like, do you go to like a tournament? So say there's a big tournament, Worlds, and do the top 10 decks of that come out as like, are they all super worth a whole ton of money because those are like the top 10 decks?
I don't know. And then
are all single cards kind of like worthless because they can't be shared around? Because they're not desirable individually.
They're not going to be because the backs will all be different. There's no resale value. You have to deck resale would have to be the market.
That's what I'm just really interested.
Interesting to me. Like, I am so excited about this. Like this. I really hope that, like, I'm going to start going to the Magic shops around here and start seeing if, like, anyone's interested in this game because I am super hyped about it. If it doesn't catch on locally, I could see it being huge digitally. I'm not sure why it isn't because, like, I would play the shit out of this.
I just wonder...
Hopefully the game's mechanics are good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't personally see this going middle of the road. I see this game either catching on and becoming pretty popular or just like bombing into oblivion because just the community doesn't like how it works.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I just went to the wrong website. I was going to read about Keyforge, and I went to www.keyforge.com, and immediately it says handmade, not the overseas child labor kind of handmade. We're proud to use 100% American child labor, which is also gluten-free. I guess they make dice.
Okay, so this is a different thing.
Yeah, completely
entirely.
different thing.
All right.
Funny.
Well, yeah. So like, this will be something to follow up on. Like, this will be an interesting thing to see going forward because it's just something that really hasn't been tried before.
Decks are $10 a piece, so I mean, you can get I think 4. There's a pack that you get like 4 of them for like 40 or 5 for 40.
All right. So before we go into our game of the week, tell me about World of Warcraft and why people are upset.
Okay, well, World of Warcraft is coming out with a new expansion.
Okay.
And there's a huge story behind the World of Warcraft, but so far, there's the Alliance and the Horde. You know that, right?
I do. That's about all I know.
Okay, so the Horde the Alliance has only ever had 2 leaders, Varian Wrynn and his son. The Horde, on the other hand, has had a plethora of leaders because people keep dying, stepping down as leader. Things happen like Thrall was the first. I think he was the first leader. Then he steps down, and then Hellscream comes up, and then Thrall kills Hellscream because he's an asshole. And then we get Vol'jin, who's a troll. He's actually a troll, like not a video game troll, but he's a troll.
Yeah, sure.
He dies or something, and then Sylvanas, the undead. Undead elf. No.
Whoops.
No. The undead elf who used to be under the grasp of the Lich King, who was a bad guy, and she used to be a bad guy, but she broke free from him. She was the leader of the undead. She became the leader of the entire Horde. And then things have been getting progressively worse for the Horde. And the opening cinematic, she goes to the elves' home and just burns the whole thing down. It's called Teldrassil. It's this big tree where all the night elves live. She kills a bunch of them and just burns it to the ground. And everyone's like, there's always been like a gray area, especially with Thrall, where the Horde were like the bad guys, but but they're not really bad guys. You know what I mean?
Like Wreck-It Ralph.
Kind of, I guess. Yeah, actually, yeah. Absolutely. But now, like, there's this. People were upset that they're throwing the Horde into this just bad guy trope, and she's just killing all these people. And then a second one comes out where one of her generals, I can't remember his name, Saurfang. I think it was Saurfang. Let me bring this back up. I believe it was Saurfang. Like, takes off his pauldrons and goes out to fight the Alliance and just die. Because he's questioning, like, what's happened. He's like, there's no honor in what happened. This is bullcrap. Like, because, like, that's one of the things that the Horde has always been, like, for honor. Like, they're bad guys, but they're honorable. And, like, they're just really upset. It is Saurfang, yeah. He's honorable, and he's, like, he's been around for everything. Like, he watched his son die at the hands of the Alliance. He takes these big old shoulder pads off, throws them off, and marches out alone like he's going to fight all these Alliance on his own and get glorious death in battle because he wants to do one last honorable thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like, the young troll comes down and convinces him that he's going to fight with him, and he takes off his shoulder pads. Like, no armor. And then, so, like, in-game, all these Horde players and even some Alliance players are choosing to hide their shoulder pads to, like, kind of stand that they're, like, against what's going on in the story with Sylvanas doing all this, like, bad stuff. Like, that they're... It's interesting when a community takes up, like, the story of a game like World of Warcraft. Like, because World of Warcraft is so big, the players are what make it what it is. And I think it's really interesting how they are standing, like, not with the leader of the faction. They're trying to put, like, that they are not with the leader that Blizzard has, like, put them with. You know what I mean?
But Blizzard also is acknowledging
Yeah,
that some people wouldn't be with that, right?
yeah. But it's really cool to see it take shape in the form of people actually doing something in game. Because people were super mad at that first one where Sylvanas just killed all those people. And this gives them someone to stand with, and it's cool. It's cool that they did that because most games, people would have just been like, "Yeah, whatever," and just kept playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose. This is a game that people have been invested in how long now?
Forever.
Ever, yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Yeah, I started playing
when you were
I
9.
started playing like 8 years ago, man.
That's not
No,
that long
I don't. I
ago,
think it was actually longer than that. It came out in 04.
So when's the last time you actually played?
I played right after the last expansion came out. I played for, I'd say, probably a good 6 months.
So is this getting you interested in it? Is it making you want to go back to it? Or will you follow the story from afar and kind of stay away from the game itself?
It's an interesting thing. I may follow it from afar, but it's about faction conflict, and it'll be interesting to see how they do that. There's always been a tension between the two factions. Then there have been times where it was openly where things were one faction against the other. But this is one I want to see how they do it. I think it'll be interesting. I played Legion. Legion came out in August of 2016, so 2 years ago. I would say I probably last played a year to a year and a half ago.
Cool.
Yeah. It'll be.
So you'll have to come back.
Yeah, I may,
when it all shakes out.
I may go back to it. I think
happened.
I still pay for my subscription, so I can hop back in whenever I want to.
Well, that seems like an interesting thing.
It's one of those things you set to auto renew, and it's not very expensive, and you just forget about it.
I did that for a while with HBO actually, because every year I turn it on for Game of Thrones, and then it takes me months to remember that I don't touch HBO at all otherwise.
I would.
And then
I would love to see their numbers for how many people cancel subscriptions right after Game of Thrones ends.
it's actually it really surprises me that they're not trying to prolong the end of that show a little harder.
They already have. It's been a year.
No, I know. I know. So I was thinking maybe they would do a half and half type of deal, kind of like how
people would riot. HBO studios would burn down.
Well, but how Harry Potter did the 50-50 split on the last movie, and I think Twilight did that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't
Harry Potter
watch
the one that
any of those movies.
Who started all that? Was it Harry Potter?
What, splitting the last book?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, The Hobbit was 3 movies to 1 book, right?
Yeah. But wasn't that?
I don't know if that was the first time it ever happened, but
I think that was after. Wasn't that after?
Yeah, it was after, but
I don't know.
Maybe they were the first one to kind of. I can't. Can you name another series of movies based on books where that would even be possible?
Hunger Games.
That was also later, though, right? After?
Yeah.
They could have, but anyway, we're off topic. Anyway,
absolutely.
So let's do it.
Okay.
Let's get to the game of the week.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready because I have.
Did you even know what it was?
I don't know what it was because you never put it in the notes.
Oh, it's there now.
Oh shit! I don't have them up.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'm about to say it. So I have been
everything.
playing Dead Cells.
Do
you know of this game?
From Dragon Ball Z?
Dragon Ball Z.
Dead Cell. Killed by... Spoiler alert.
Who did he get killed by?
Gohan.
Do you remember?
Gohan.
Yeah, it was... But, didn't, Vegeta hit him in the back?
No,
and it
I don't
distracted
remember, man.
him, and then he got...
I think
Gohan.
I think Gohan went Super Saiyan 2 and just murdered him.
I don't remember crap about... That was, forever ago. Anyway, no, nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
So this has been in early access for a good long time. I'm playing on PC. It is also on Mac, Linux, PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch. I hear that it has some hiccup issues on the Switch. Not actual hitching, but some sort of performance problem there. And they have addressed, like, came out and said, hey, we're working on it. That's our top priority.
That's good.
So just keep that in mind if that is the platform that you want to play this on, which it's kind of unfortunate to hear that because I think the Switch is actually a great place to pick this game up. So this is a roguelike Metroidvania style type. Like, I hesitate to say Metroidvania just because you aren't, like, it is run based. So you are doing procedurally generated levels.
Permadeath, kinda.
So it's like it's a
an extent?
roguelike in the fact that you're building progress as you do your runs. So like the how it happens is that each area is pretty much the same, but it is procedurally generating, like, kind of like a dungeon type of deal.
Okay.
And so it's a combat, like an action platforming like combat type of game.
Okay.
So you are, like, fighting your way through these levels. There's bosses every 3, like, it's 3 levels and then a boss, I believe. In between the levels, you are spending cells. So it's kind of like a Souls type of thing that you're pouring into upgrades. So let's say you, like, upgrade your health flask so that it can be used multiple times, which then if you are able to pour enough cells into that upgrade, then you can use that on your subsequent runs.
Okay.
So, like, you're upgrading your health, you're upgrading, like, you can do it so that you have, like, random starting weapons, or you're unlocking new weapons that you'll find along the way, kind of like how Enter the Gungeon is. And so, like, that's the deal with it. They describe it as a Roguevania because it is procedurally generated, and it is like a freely explorable space. And you don't have to explore everything. You really just have to find the exit. And so one kind of additional cool thing about it is that they reward you for going super quickly through the levels. So they have, like, time locks on a lot of the gates and say, oh, this let's say you get to it too late. It'll be like, oh, this gate locked 45 seconds ago. Too bad. Like, get here faster next time.
But it's in a different place because it's procedurally generated.
Right. But it seems like you can kind of count on, say, like, the first set of gates in the second area to be around, like, the same amount of time required. So then if you could, like, burn through the first level, then you have a really good chance of finding and getting through that gate, and it usually has, like, some pretty decent loot and whatever behind it. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I think that it controls very well. It's like there's, like, some ridiculous storm outside, so people are gonna be listening to storming right now.
I can't hear.
But so I'd say the one thing that this has going against it for me personally is that I just usually fall off of run-based games at some point.
Yeah.
It's like I never know which one becomes the final one, but, like, at some point it's just like, all right, let me put this away forever, like I did with Into the Breach.
It kind of feels like what you're explaining is like a Metroidvania version of, say, what's that game I play all the time? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Sure don't. Madden.
Slay the Spire. The game I say I'm playing every week.
Sure. No, like,
as far as unlocks and progress, you start everything anew, but you get unlocks and by playing.
I would say it's a little bit more straightforward than Slay the Spire. So, like, the upgrades are felt a little bit more directly. Because when you're upgrading, like, your health, there's no, like, chance to get that back. Like, you just start with that.
Yeah.
So, like, there are some upgrades and unlocks that are very, like, permanent.
Okay. Huh.
So it is neat. It's pretty fun. It's not too expensive. If you're really
it's on
into,
sale, isn't it? Even.
It might be. It was on sale before it went 1.0. I'm not really sure now. It actually recently went up in price due to The 1.0. Oh, there's some sweet thunder. So let's go ahead and wrap this up before I lose power. And that would be horrible, and we would lose this entire podcast.
I like it. It's on sale until tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, that's
Midday.
Unfortunate
Midday.
for anyone
So
because you're probably not hearing this.
Listen to this in the morning.
So, yeah, I mean, if you don't have any questions about it, I think it's good. The control, everything is real tight. It plays well. You have a lot of options in terms of your weapons. You've got some like accessories that you can use. Like you can use bombs and kind of like little auto crossbows and stuff.
Your typical Metroid, Castlevania type things. Yeah, it
is that it's not reinventing the wheel, but it does feel pretty good.
Yeah,
like the combat is precise and great, and the platforming all feels really good. The variety is there for me for now. The sense of progression is good, but like with all run-based games, I will inevitably just
be done with it.
Lose interest.
Understandable.
All right, man. Do you have anything else that you want to bring up this week?
No, that's about all I got. Ready for football to start, man.
Oh yeah,
it's almost that time of year, preseason, baby.
You're pre-gaming with the Madden?
Yeah, this is technically gaming related. Yeah, I've got fantasy football league starting up, man.
Oh yeah,
it's gaming in a different way. I've
never played.
You should sometime. It's amazing.
All right, well, the storm looks like it's a raging, so I'm going to need you to take us out of here.
Oh man, storm's raging. This podcast is raging. We've had good times. We've had bad times. We've laughed. We've cried. We've felt things we didn't know we would. But yeah, thanks for joining us. I've been Wetbridge this whole time. That's been a good one.
That's great.
I hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you hopefully next week. Goodbye.